point, as he's on, well, not remote, but participating from the Hizzy today. And in the meantime, Director Matthew is running around getting us organized. Now, away we go for what I think, at the very least, is our radio and YouTube audience. I think that's right. I think we're getting, yeah, there's going to be a busy week. Going to be a fun week. It was a busy weekend. Unfortunately, part of that weekend involves the further decline, or evidence of the further decline, the fall of what is a baseball program that resembles, unlike really any team I've seen Florida State field. And whether, I go back to talking about the early 90s, sitting in the stands and doing homework, all the way through, the current time, last year and year before and all that. And golly, it'll hurt your feelings. One thing I can't do, and some of you might be able to, and this is a fault of mine. I don't know. Can you do it? Can you guys do it when it's your football team, your pro football team? Maybe it's just collegiately I can't do it. But a lot of people I know will say, when they come to a resounding conclusion, when they recognize that something has revealed itself to you, that it is their very nature, it's what they are, right? So in this case, that's a bad baseball team. It's a really bad baseball team. You don't even have to really like delve into the numbers. If you just kind of take a cursory glance and watch them play a little bit, the numbers do bear it out, by the way. The numbers tell you they are, but when you watch them, even if you don't look into the strikeout to walk ratio, even if you don't look into the team foibles involving pitching, starting or otherwise, even if you don't look into the defensive metrics, even if if you just watch a couple of innings, you'd say, yeah, man, this team sucks. They're not very good. And in baseball, a lot of times I would never tell you to watch that small a sample size. But that's how evident it is when you watch this team. That's how obvious it is when you watch this team. It's just so overwhelmingly putrid. You can't, like a lot of times you want to hang your hat on something. You want to be able to look at an element of this thing that you love, that you're passionate about, that you can at least say, well, this is good. They do this well. Nope. Nothing. What is it you say you do here is the best way to describe this baseball team. And I hate to sound like a broken record during a 9-game losing streak. I'm losing track. They're all just, it's like interstate out in the middle of nowhere. Scenery's the same, just passing me by. Whole bunch of, it's like when you get into Texas and you're driving. The first time you ever make that drive, and for those that never have driven all the way through Texas, you should do it once in your lifetime. Just the once. Because when you do, you're reminded, like, holy moly, this is a big country. And that is a really big state. But a lot of that state is a whole lot of nothing. And you just drive and drive and drive. And you're like, yep, much of the same. All right, here's more of the same. Yep, there's a coyote. That's right. Look at that. There's a tumbleweed. A tumbleweed. And another one. And we're driving. And oh, by the way, we've got 800 miles to go, and we'll still be in Texas. That's Florida State baseball. Another inning. There we are. We're just oh, look at that. A booted ball at third. How about that? That kid's going to be safe on a ground ball to third, one hop to the glove. Oh, there's a pop fly out to left. That'll get us out of the inning. Minimal damage. Routine pop fly. Oh, he dropped it. He dropped a can of corn out and left. And look at that. It's a merry-go-round. They're all going to score. All right, there we go. Instead of 2-0, it's now 5-0. Oh, isn't that great? That's probably not going to overcome that. Probably not going to overcome that. And just more of the scenery. But I can't take my eyes away from it. I keep watching it. And I know that I sound like a broken record. But I guess they're getting worse. That'll happen when you lose confidence. That'll happen as you begin to see the writing on the wall. We're not good. We're not going to be good. Oh, there's another mistake. I'm glad that Link is, it seemingly, just based on the evidence yesterday, is going young. But what a shame it is for year number one. You think about the enthusiasm, you think about the excitement, you think about the joy of him coming in, one of our own coming home, right? And a guy that had overwhelming evidence that he could coach, and I still think he can. That's not at play here. That's not in the discussion right now. But this is a rebuild. This is a redo. This is I got to get my own guys in here. This has got to get a lot better. I'm going to play the young guys. We're going to go through pain. We're going to have to deal with it. And that's what it is. It's hard to watch, though. It's the kind of play that'll drive a man to drink. Now, I'm not saying I did over the weekend. I'm saying that if you were watching and you weren't a drinker, you'd be, you would have, you'd think maybe I should open that bottle. There's not a single redeeming aspect to the team. So that's what you got. Our finals set for tonight. And listen, the matchup, okay, good. UConn beat Miami. That's all that really mattered over the weekend. That's really more than anything else. You had to have UConn beat Miami. We all knew that. Collectively, we joined with all of our negativity towards Miami and our positive thoughts in the moment for a program I don't even care about. In fact, I don't like Hurley and I don't like UConn. But man, was I waving that UConn flag. That had to happen or this weekend would have been disastrous. I mean, can you imagine? Thank goodness. So it did. It happened. They dominated that game. It was, a lesson in size and rim protection. You think about what happened with that game, and Miami does such a good job, and they did. I can compliment a team that they were this year. Their offense was very, very good this year. Their guards could blow past easily, create good shots, but they got held down and dominated in that basketball game because every time they did get kind of funneled toward the basket, their shot was either severely altered or blocked. And there it is. Big men. It helps to have them. Talented, athletic, strong big men. It's a good idea. And at the end of the day, UConn has kind of dominated this tournament. One would think it's theirs for tonight. San Diego State hits the game winner against FAU. I got to confess, I really wanted FAU to win. Kudos to the kid who on the bounce creates the shot and gets the win. But I would also note, if you think about how that game went, that was something to behold, wasn't it? FAU dominates that game for much of it. And then you get that final 9.5 minutes or so. San Diego State outscores FAU 23-9 during that stretch to tie it up at 65 all with 4:24. That's when it all shifted. And then we were holding on for dear life. And FAU, I would have loved to have said FSU, ended up having a 2 or 3 point lead, one possession lead all the way through to the very end after that moment in which they were tied. And you're in the final 30 seconds. And, you watch the San Diego State kid get the rebound. They don't have their best scorers in the game. You think they're going to call timeout, but they don't. They don't burn the timeout. Lamont Butler drives up that right side, and it's a really great move, a wonderful offensive move. He gathers, freezes, that hard step, jump to the left, release, splash, drawers, good night. Thanks for playing. Peace, FAU. The shocked look on the faces of those watching the ending of that game, I felt for them. So San Diego State 72-71. Their only lead of the second half is that jumper to win the game. In some ways, watching Florida State get swept off the diamond this weekend by an arch rival for the first time in over 2 decades, and to have that beating be so dismissive of what we are as a program was easier to stomach than had that been FSU in the Final Four watching that guy make that shot and that be the only time you trailed. Whoo! Hurt feelings. Especially with the way that FAU controlled the tempo of that game, especially the start of that game. I think at one point, wasn't it 56-42, a 14-point lead? You thought they're going to the finals. They're going to the finals. But alas, an interesting finals. Now, here's the shame of it. I had to double-check this. I put it on my little sheet of paper here to make mention. I'm officially old. This is no good. 9:20 p.m. What are we doing here? We're tipping a game at 9:20 p.m.? Let's start it at midnight. Who the hell cares at this point? What are you doing? 9:20 p.m. So, I don't know, man. I'm starting to be like Tony Kornheiser, I think. I think Kornheiser is like famous for going to bed at 7 p.m., 8 p.m., everybody's like, well, you didn't see the game, but he gets up at 5 and watches it while everybody or the rest of the world sleeps. That's going to be me. I'm not going to see the second half of this game tonight. There's no chance. I can't do it. 9 o'clock hits. I'm like, what are we doing, everybody? It is awfully late. Guys, I'm going to my kids look at me. All right, boys, time to shut it down. This happened last night. I cooked for the family, as I'm wont to do. I know, Live Spectator, it's nonsense. It's never okay to tip at 9:20. But here's the thing. Obviously, 27-year-old me didn't care. 51-year-old me says this is a travesty. But that said, I cooked for everybody last night. I was proud of myself. It was a grilling effort. We had everything you could want. Kids loved it. It was beautiful. Finish up the food. And I'm feeling really, really, I don't know, in a family mood. I go, hey, guys, who wants to go out for ice cream? Of course, my kids, oh, let's go, let's go. My wife looks at me, all right. So we all go as a family for ice cream. We eat the ice cream. It's gluttonous. It was a gluttonous deal. Big meal followed by ice cream. We get done, we're driving back. Of course, belly's full. I'm tired. It's time to go to bed. Well, or soon. It's going to be to bed soon. So we get home, it's like 8 o'clock. Bryce looks at me. I'm shutting it down. I'm closing the curtains. I let the dog out one last time. I'm grabbing my big glass of water that I keep on the nightstand next to the bed in case you wake up with like cramps in your calves. Can't have it. He goes, what are you doing? It's 8 o'clock. Oh, it's late. We got a big week. No, we don't. We're not going anywhere. We're not doing anything. What are you talking about? You got school. It's a big week. I sound like my dad. I sound like an ancient man. You got to get your rest. Everybody, I remember hearing that as a kid. I look at my dad back in the day. Got to get your rest. It's 8:07 p.m. It's still light outside. There are kids playing in the neighborhood. The ice cream truck is playing. What are we doing? That was me. And I'm just like, oh, well, it's getting awfully late. Let's shut these curtains. Has the dog gone out? Everybody got their lunchbox out here for the morning? It's freaking 9:20. How am I going to make tonight's tip? I'll make it, and I'll watch it. And if it's good, they'll drag me to stay up, and I'll stay up because I'm not going to go to bed in the middle of a national championship game if it's good. So can UConn just go ahead and dominate? I'll call it a day, although I want San Diego State to win. Florida State played football. They had a scrimmage over the weekend. And here's the shocker. Jordan Travis whooped ass because that's who he does. That's what he does. That's who he is. And what he does is a better way of phrasing that. I'll touch on that and some of the results in a moment. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Papa Joe, Java, Brew, Go-Go Beans, Brainwater, Liquid Lightning, Wakey Juice, whatever you call your cup of coffee, you're missing out if it's not Grassroots Coffee. At grassrootscoffee.com, you'll find an easy way to order the best roasted coffee beans available. It's very simple. Choose the blend you want and how you want it ground, and the bag you receive will have the date your beans were roasted and packaged on it, all written by hand and signed by the roast master himself. You'll know that's as fresh as it gets. You can get Grassroots outside of your house also at some of your favorite restaurants in town. Next time you're out to eat, try asking for Grassroots Coffee by name because there's a good chance they will have it for you. And if you own a business, Grassroots Coffee has options to stock your break rooms with all the productivity powder your team needs. Plus, like some other options that you'll find at work, Grassroots Coffee actually is a part of our community. Get to grassrootscoffee.com today and get yourself a treat. Some locally owned, locally roasted, and locally loved Grassroots Coffee.
Car accident? Call Facing Brooks Law Offices, 777-7777.
Gee, honey, I'm not gonna lie. Our front yard is looking sad. Don't you think it's time for some TLJ?
I'm pretty sure you mean TLC, and I don't have time for all that work.
No, I'm talking about some TLJ, like in the radio commercials. Give your yard some TLJ from the Lawn Johns.
For all your lawn care and landscaping needs, give your yard the TLC it deserves with some TLJ. Call the Lawn Johns today for a free quote at 322-2567 or visit thelawnjohns.com.
Let's be honest, we all have way too much stuff. Maybe your storage closet is full, your garage is full, or the guest bedroom is a mess. Call Southeast Portable Buildings, 580-6400, or visit them online at southeastportablebuildings.com.
Hi, everybody. It's Ed Dean, Florida's #1 statewide radio talk show, now in Tallahassee, afternoon drive from 5 to 6 p.m. right here on Real Talk 93.3 FM. Yes, highly entertaining, fast-paced, never boring. We always give you the story behind the story when you catch the Ed Dean radio show. And we are ready to go. Tallahassee daily, 5 to 6 p.m. It's the Ed Dean radio show on Real Talk 93.3 FM. WVFT.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you know that these days, generating growth is a challenge. By teaming with Bank of America, you'll not just stay ahead of the curve, you'll move it. With access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2023 Bank of America, N.A.
If you're shopping for Easter, Kohl's is unmatched. To prep for the celebrations, I treated myself to a few Sephora beauty must-haves. Plus, I found great basket stuffers for my girls and got an extra 40% off cute outfits for them to wear to Sunday brunch and all spring long. Oh, and I earned Kohl's Cash. So take it from me. You need to hop over to Kohl's right now. Select styles. Offer ends April 8th. Sephora coupons and Kohl's Cash do not apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout, resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Make sure you do that on Twitter. It's at J Cameron Show, and away we go in our discussion of the scrimmage. Very quickly, I want to note here about the scrimmage, and of course, the press, we're not allowed to be there for the scrimmage. Nobody saw the scrimmage. Well, somebody did, but I did not see the scrimmage, and we were not supposed to have seen the scrimmage. So we have to rely on, again, what the coaches are saying. And again, this is a group that's a lot easier to, I guess, take at face value, because again, their policy is openness. They're not going to tell you about something that seems incredibly improbable because they're trying to motivate somebody. Since we saw all the practices leading up to the scrimmage, if some dude has been awful all along, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh man, it's crazy! You should have seen Tate. He looked like Joe Montana." Like you would. Oh, well, really? I don't know. I don't think he did. I'm not sure I believe you. Maybe he did. Perhaps that's true, but I'm not sure I'm buying that one. So they don't do that. They're pretty good about that. They don't try to, So I do trust for the most part. Now, I also understand every coaching staff, every coach individually will say certain things in an interview setting in which they know if the press wasn't there, they have an opportunity to manipulate the discussion, perhaps in order to facilitate growth of a player or to send a message to that player, to inspire, to whatever, to critique, productively what a player is doing, any of those things. So that's normal too. I always think about that. Two things stand out here right off the bat. The takeaway is that, Jordan Travis is not getting a lot of time in these scrimmages, but he did get some time in this scrimmage. And of course, just like that, it was immediately felt. Like, you're not shocked to find out that Jordan Travis was really good in this scrimmage, and that when he gets an opportunity to run an offense that he is incredibly comfortable running, he's going to emerge as the star that he is. The star turn for Jordan Travis occurred a year ago when he went from a slightly above average quarterback in the ACC to an elite quarterback in the ACC and one of the best starters at the position in the country. That's the kind of magnificent turnaround in Jordan Travis's career that we witnessed en route to 10 wins last year. That turnaround almost single-handedly was the reason that Florida State was capable of once again getting back into very comfortable win totals and places we look to reside, which is a land of consistency and wellness that sees you win 9, 10, 11 games in a season. We like to have those kinds of consistent seasons, with the outlier being, hey, they're good enough to win a national championship. That's hard to do. Only one team can. There's a lot of teams play college football. Any given year, you might be one that has a shot at it, and that's kind of where we strive to be one of the teams that has a shot at it any given year, but to sustain levels of excellence in the interim. So last year, you finally kicked that door down, get to 10 wins. You're like, all right. Now, okay, good. We're back in the neighborhood we're comfortable living in. Everybody feels good about it. And the biggest reason was Jordan Travis. Lots of reasons, but the biggest reason was Jordan Travis. Jordan Travis is now a senior. Jordan Travis has more weapons at his disposal now than he did a year ago, than he had at any point in his career. Jordan Travis now has an offensive line in front of him that isn't just a good starting five, but potentially there are, again, 12 fighting for 5. You've got, if a starter has to sit out, and they do oftentimes for whatever reason, I don't know, soreness, slight, calf strain, something. Well, it doesn't mean that your entire offensive line then is in disarray because one starter is out. Not anymore. Florida State has the depth of a quality football program, a quality football team. So Jordan Travis is going to kick ass any chance they give him to kick ass. That is to say, if you put Jordan Travis out there with the ones, he's going to move the football. He understands the offense like the back of his hand. When we watch it at practice, it hums. It's just, and there's a world of difference between when Jordan Travis is running this offense and any of the other quarterbacks. So as long as Tate's been here, it still doesn't look the same. And of course it doesn't with a freshman, a true freshman like Brock Glenn, and it doesn't with A.J. Duffy, who's now only been here a year. When Jordan's running the show, it's something to watch. It's decision-making 101. It's perfect. They're just, you just see it. You just think to yourself, man, look at this. That's the right place to go with the football. and he knew it pre-snap. Knew what the defense was giving him, knew what to do, executed it perfectly. Ball comes out on time, ball comes out accurately. Whole lot of get you some. And it's glorious. It's glorious to watch. It's to the point where it's so expected, it's boring. How about that? Isn't that great? You get to a place where your quarterback, it's like you think people in New England, I'm not saying, I know. Settle down, Cameron. Jordan Travis is not Tom Brady. But my point is the same. Like after a while, once it was established that Tom Brady was really good at playing quarterback, do you think that New England fans watch practice reports? They're like, hey, look at that. Tom Brady kicked ass yesterday. No, they just assumed that Tom Brady kicked ass yesterday because that's what Tom Brady does. That's what all the good quarterbacks in the league do. They kick ass when they get a chance with their starters to go do what they do. But I am at that place with Jordan Travis. I am. I'm bored in a good way. It's the best possible way to be bored. It's like being bored in San Diego of 72-degree weather. I'm just walking around. Look at this, another perfect day. How about that? It's perfect again today, Rob. It is, Jeff. You know we live in San Diego. I do. It'll be 72 tomorrow as well, Jeff. Yes, it will. How about that? After a while, Rob and Jeff start talking about something different. They're not going to talk about how it's 72 and perfect outside anymore. They're just going to assume that tomorrow they could be outside and it will be awfully pleasant. I do the same thing with Jordan Travis. I'm like, hey, there's Jordan Travis. He's dressed out. I bet he's going to have a good day. I bet he makes the right decisions and puts the ball on him. Ball comes out on time. Play breaks down. I bet you he makes a guy miss. Probably embarrasses somebody in the open field on his way to a 70-yard touchdown run. Kind of think that's just what he's going to do. I wouldn't even report on it anymore. I've been outvoted. I tell people on the staff at Warchant we shouldn't talk about Jordan Travis anymore. It's boring. People are going to stop clicking it. They're not going to want to read about it anymore. Oh, yeah, Jordan Travis whooped ass again today. Guy's got to write something different. Tired of this nonsense. But it's an awesome problem to have. So Jordan Travis did well. But the better story is not that happened yet again, because it did. The better story is that Joshua Farmer continues to whoop ass. And this is a guy early in camp. Now, we've had a chance to talk with him post-practice. And they'll gather players for us to have, and it changes day to day, and oftentimes based around the player's performance. And Farmer has had a lot of good performances. He's a talented player. Ira wrote about it in his 10 big takeaways from the Florida State football second spring scrimmage. You can read the article, warchant.com. You should go read it. But the mention was that Joshua Farmer, since he arrived, was a good prospect. That's true. I think all of us last year kind of thought, hey, man, that guy's got some talent. That's going to be interesting as he gets stronger, as he gets a little bit bigger, as these guys acclimate themselves. It's a big step up from being a defensive lineman or an offensive lineman in high school to college. Now you're always going against a big dude who's got good technique and good footwork and who can fight back. In high school, it's just not true. Most of the time these guys line up, if they're a really big man, they just dominate dudes across from them on the regular. They can't really be stopped. So it's a hell of an adjustment when you get to college and everybody's big and everybody's strong. And some of the guys have a distinct advantage on you because they've been here for 2 and 3 years, eating from the Bama table, presumably, lifting weights properly and with better equipment. And now you got to catch up. Now you got a long way to go. But I thought Farmer at times last year would have practices where he really flashed. And he had games last year where you would see, oh, man, as rotational guys go, this guy's good. He's got a chance to be really good. So when you listen to Mike talk about Joshua Farmer being dominant in practice, and, the understanding of what they're doing, the techniques, all of it, and he's really strong. And I think the quote from Norvell was, he might be one of the strongest human beings we have on this team. Hand strength, power, punch. And he went on to say something that I think is also true. He's a fun player to watch. He went on to say it's a fun player to coach as well. I don't coach him. I just get to watch him. And when I watch him, I agree. He's fun to watch. He's good. And why is that important? Well, I have begun the process, and I've said it time and again to you guys, once we graduated from not being bad to being good and wanting to be great, the standard by which we day-to-day evaluate these players, compare and contrast this team to others who are in the category for which we're striving. That is greatness, domination, national championship contender. How close are we? Well, you got to have a dominant defensive line to be a national championship contender, I do believe, and you got to have, or at least the one that has the ability to dominate, and I think you have to have a really deep and talented, at times dominant, offensive line as well. So I no longer, when we get these breakdowns and we hear about how good Jordan Travis is, I assume as much. That's great. I want to know, how is the defensive line playing? How is the offensive line playing in a game-like setting that we don't get to see? We see practice, and we see them, they'll go 11 on 11. They'll go good on good occasionally, and you'll get to see all of that. And that matters. That gives us context and ability to relay that information to you. But I want to know when it's a game and you've got refs out there calling holding and all the other stuff that happens, I want to know, how do they look? That's one of the first and most important ththings I look to. Not surprising to hear that yet again, Trey Benson and Lawrence Toafili are good. They got opportunities this go around in the scrimmage, and they made the most of them because they're talented. You already know that Rodney Hill is talented. They've got a deep offensive backfield, just period, across the board. They really do. Something I didn't like, and something I liked and something I didn't like. You get a veteran player like Akeem Dent. You have Shaheem Brown, who we expect to start. To hear Adam Fuller say, quote, we've got to make more football plays back there. When the ball's in the air, we've got to make sure the ball ends up in our hands. We can be better at that spot at this point in the spring. We need more production at safety at this point of the spring. I don't question about their will, but it needs to happen like now. Well, that's a challenge. That is a mandate. That is, we got to be better in the secondary, and he's right. And, there's a lot of pressure on Adam Fuller this year. There's a lot of pressure on this defense this year with all that I've talked about with the offense being good and probably elite. Most Saturdays, this offense is going to be elite. I feel comfortable saying that. Now, you're going to have a game or two where you have the requisite talent on the defensive side to make that much more of a challenge. Obviously, when you play perhaps LSU or Clemson or a team like that, it's not going to be as free-flowing and easy to come by. But I think the offense most days is going to be the strength of this football team. I need the defense to take a big, big, big step forward. Until that happens, you will not be in the conversation for the college football playoff. And I think Adam Fuller probably recognizes, given the amount of athletes they have in that secondary, how much returning talent is there, how good this defensive line should be. They got a chance to be really good. They could produce turnovers. They can create situations with high leverage opportunities. But we haven't seen it, right? They got to do it. They didn't do it last year against the better offenses. It's a big deal. So that's the one area where we're going to continue to really closely monitor that coming out of spring. Do they get, they only have a few more chances here. We'll be watching this the whole second half of spring here, the last stretch of practices with this group. Do we feel good about them when spring ends? I don't know if the answer is going to be yes or no, and that's not the end of the world. It is just spring. We're working on a lot of fundamentals here. But I do need to see evidence that there are 4 or 5 guys you feel very comfortable with at corner and safety. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. A tornado watch continues until 5 p.m. this evening. Scattered thunderstorms likely this afternoon, otherwise cloudy. High of 81, south winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Scattered thunderstorms again tonight, lows dip down to about 67, mainly cloudy. Highs level off around 87 tomorrow, mainly clear. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 78.
For many in the workforce, their goal is to climb the company ladder. Often the climb requires a move to another city, and that's especially true in our industry. I'm Jay of Paul's Termite and Pest Control. If you rise the ranks of our competitors, there's a good chance moving up means moving away. Why? Because they're not local companies. They're from places like Orlando, Atlanta, Salt Lake City, and even Europe. That's certainly not the case with our employees. We're a company that was founded in the Big Bend and remains locally owned. When Paul's Termite and Pest Control employees advance, they remain in the Tallahassee area. Don't trust the safety of your family and pets from disease-carrying pests or the structure of your biggest investment from termites to people who may be here today and gone tomorrow. Trust Paul's Termite and Pest Control, a company that has serviced thousands of our neighbors right here for over 50 years. Being local really does matter in our industry because local problems require local solutions. Paul's Termite and Pest Control are the Big Bend's local experts for the elimination of termites or any other pest, and a greener lawn too. Call Paul's. We'll get them all.
My man Eddie.
Jeff, what's happening, dude?
Bears eating people all over the place. I read another article today. It's the third one in the last month of somebody getting mauled to death by a bear.
Man, bears have their own space.
Well,
you got to let them have that.
You do. You got to stay clear of bears, is what you're saying?
Yes.
I got a question for you. Here you go. If you had to be mauled to death, eaten alive by any animal in the world, which would you choose to eat you alive?
Ooh, I think maybe I'd want, I don't know, longevity time, a mouse.
Just a slow burn.
Slow burn.
This thing just finished the pinking. It's been a month.
I could go to work. I could still do my thing. I could probably live 30 years.
I thought you were going to say great white because it'd be quick, or a grizzly. We went with mouse.
Yeah, mouse.
Okay. Mouse it is. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Hey, Greg Tish here along with
Matty Rowe.
And you can listen to us Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Real Talk 93.3. Matt, we give away a couple things each week.
Just a few.
We got the Florida Farm Bureau Insurance Wheel of Food. We have Give Me a Second, where we play a second of a song and you guess that song. And we also play FLA or Nay. We have a lot of fun Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. on
The Greg Tish Show.
Think that's enough?
We can talk about our feelings.
There's a lot.
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3. Welcome back to the Jeff Cameron Show, sponsored by Legendary Home Loans, a mortgage experience designed around speed, simplicity, and customer service.
Back. We heard plenty about how bad Blackman was. Yeah, we did. And some of my referencing of growing weary of hearing more great and wondrous descriptors of how much ass kicking's going on from Jordan Travis and how boring it is now because it's a foregone conclusion was tongue in cheek. But yeah, I got you. It's nice knowing you got that in your back pocket. It's easy. It's fun to kind of sit back and be like, all right, we know we got that. Hell, how many games last year were you watching that we thought, well, we're dead in the water if he doesn't make that play? I mean, the Florida game, sweet Jesus. We got T. Lizzie into the program. Not his fault. The internet, apparently nationwide, if you have Hulu or what, Metronet, you were screwed.
I know that there's usually a little echo when we start the proceedings. Hopefully that's gone by now. But yeah, the funny thing was it's kind of reflexive and reflective because Metronet sets up their phone system and their customer service portal and their website through their own internet. So nobody can get through to their services. And a little Twitter search populated Indiana, Lexington, Kentucky, all over the country saying, the hell's wrong with you people? What's wrong? But we're back. We're good. Heard your thoughts on the scrimmage and stuff, and I echo the sentiment with Josh Farmer. He is somebody who's going to be a lot of fun to watch, that defensive interior.
Well, he's good, man. He's a good player, and he's also fun to watch play because I think he likes to play. That's an added bonus. I don't need that as long as you dominate. I don't care if you hate being out there as long as you dominate. But it's an added bonus when you do care to be out there because you have a lot of fun playing the game. I feel like Fabo does that too. He likes to play the game. He likes to play football. Obviously, Verse likes to play football. It's such a tough game to play that if you don't have a passion for it and you're merely good at it, you can easily get burned out from it. So you have to. It does help to love the game of football in order to be good at it because it's damn hard. It's brutal, and you have to want to knock the hell out of somebody. You have to want to embrace all the stuff that makes you good at football because these are hard activities. And Farmer's one of the guys that does, but he's always smiling. He's always smiling. He always seems happy about it, and I think he likes too, Tom, that he's getting better. When he gets asked about it. And it's evident when you watch these practices that he's having more consistent practices day to day, right? He's better each time or he's consistently good. You can tell that makes him happy. He's excited about being better. And that's cool too, because that's infectious.
Yeah, I think it's also infectious that, he's got a relationship with Darrell Jackson. They played together and they're elevating each other's game. And I think that's a good thing. It's something that, maybe we could have had from the outset if we recruited both of them from high school. But they're here now together for this key year for both of them. Darrell Jackson would figure to play more snaps, I would think, at this point. But I think we did a bold prediction thing last week on maybe it was the Smash, I forget. But I said that my bold prediction is of the defensive interior linemen this year, it's going to be Josh Farmer that has the most tackles for loss this season. And the reason I think that is because he's going to be operating in one-on-one situations an awful lot more than most of his compatriots. And that is a scary proposition for opposing offenses if somebody like Josh Farmer, who has quicks to go along with strength, is going to be in one-on-ones. That's really good news for us that we're going to be in situations like that, and I look forward to it. Haven't seen it a whole bunch yet, and we can't really peek behind the curtain too much anyway. But when Adam Fuller talks about a multiple defensive tackle front, I look forward to seeing what that looks like because you could categorize Dennis Briggs that way, and apparently he had a good day on Saturday. You could categorize Josh Farmer as somebody who's still in between with his skill set. They're varied in the defensive interior. They got a bunch of different types of dudes. That could be a fun lineup just to throw out there as a wrinkle.
I think it's interesting that you brought up Briggs because I think very quietly he's had a good camp, and I believe he's going to have a very good season, primarily because I think for the first time since the injury, he's back at full strength, healthy, trusting, explosive. His body type is one of the best for the position that he plays on the team. He's lean enough to be athletic. He's got that caboose that I like that really is good, tough to move, tough to unseat. That's a big guy. And he's quick up top and he's strong. And we know where this was headed before the cheap shot against Louisville. So you may have a secret weapon that everybody forgot about because along the way he played, but he wasn't close to where he was pre-injury. And so people got used to watching him be just another guy when he played last year. But he's not just another guy. I think he's a really good player when he's right. I think he's going to play in the league. He's got the right body to play in the league for a long time.
Yeah, he's got a chance to do that. I think, sometimes we overvalue situations and low-hanging fruit stats. Like, for example, Patrick Payton was somebody that was talked about more because of his ability as a quick twitch athlete and in situations to get to the quarterback and on third down. But that doesn't mean that you would roll him out there for 3 downs last year. So in a snap count sense, is he as important as some of the other guys? Maybe not last year. We look forward to seeing what he does in 2023. But I apply that to Dennis Briggs for this upcoming season because on third down, I think he's got to be on the field. I mean, that is somebody that you can line up. He knows each position on the defensive line. He's played them all. And when he's healthy, he can play every one of those at a pretty high level. So when it's third and passing, and that's the body that you could put out there between the guards, man, that just reminds me of the impact that a DeMarcus Walker had here 6-7 years ago when you would line him up in the interior in third and
inside,
Is he as quick as Walker? No, but is he that type of athlete that is a problem matchup, especially when we know exactly what's coming, when you could pin your ears back? Absolutely. So I think Dennis Briggs is going to have some high splash play potential this year. I just wonder how often he's going to be out there downs 1 through 3.
Yeah, I just need him to be effective when he's out there, and I think he has a very specific role to play. He can be more multidimensional than people would give him credit for. I do believe that, too, as you were describing. I'm not here to suggest that he's going to lead the team in tackles or sacks or anything like that. I just think when he plays, he's going to be a very effective player for you. Some of that, you go back and you think about how we all are always enamored with the pass rushers. Anybody that gets home, anybody that sacks quarterbacks, that's who we hyper-focus on. And yet Keir Thomas was every bit as dominant when he was out there for what he was being asked to do. Keir Thomas was maybe better, frankly. If you talk to certain people and the metrics they use, they think Keir Thomas was better.
Yet more consistent. There's no doubt.
The
motor was more consistent. Nobody wants to say that about Jermaine Johnson. Look, Jermaine had a high motor, but there were times when and part of it is you're on the field for so many plays. We don't have.
And he was a warrior, and he wanted to stay out there. Yes.
But if you're talking about consistently playing and play out, Keir was really, really important for that defensive line, and I think the consistency factor was higher than Jermaine was.
Yeah, and so to me, this is how it happens, right, with guys. Nobody's going to be flashier than Verse. Verse is going to – if Verse is healthy, he's going to have plays where we go, whoo, man. But there are guys that are just rock-solid consistent, doing what they're supposed to do, and that could be a stymie. That could just be, don't let this guy get to your linebackers. Don't let you set the edge. Just do that.
Yeah, the things I saw from Peyton specifically last year that got me excited, there was a play in the Louisville game because we were kind of thin, obviously, as we were that stretch of the year. And then later in the year where he has an instinct kind of like Bjorn Werner did, where if he can sniff something out to the perimeter.
Oh, Werner, man. Werner was the best at it.
He'll go out and make the play there. And I've seen that a couple of times from Peyton this camp and some of the situational drills. But overall, last week, Thursday specifically, Peyton was very, very impressive. If it wasn't for Jordan Travis being a magician and just having that internal clock, which is another new skill that's developing and refining for Jordan. I mean, Peyton might have had 3 or 4 sacks in that particular practice. He's been consistently one of the guys that's got the mean streak on the defensive line. Like, whereas Jared Verse just talks and talks, Patrick Peyton is kind of like Julian Armello, where they'll scrap a little bit after the play, so he's got a little enforcer to him. But then he's also got the football sense to go make a play in the perimeter and see what an offense is trying to do to him, which tells me that up here, I mean, he's processing information really quickly. So I'm excited to see what he can be because I think Peyton could potentially be more than just a third down specialist. He's starting to get a little bit larger as well. But as we go through this list, man, we're getting to 6 names and 7 names and 8 names. And I think that's the greater point that we keep coming back to is it might be a different guy every week, but who cares if you've got enough guys?
David asked a question in the chat, and I want to answer it in a bunch of different ways. I like this. Was Adam Fuller's comments about the secondary/safeties a challenge to the players or to the new coach? It's the players. The coach has his respect. They've known each other. The coach has already proven himself on a lot of levels. It's not that. If anything, though, I do think it's a recognition that the defense is the key to the season, Tom. The defense is the key to the season, and everybody on that defensive staff has to understand that. I'm sure they're well aware. They see this offense every day in practice. They know what Jordan Travis is. They see the myriad options at tight end, the loaded offensive backfield. You got 4 or 5 guys that on a given Saturday can carry the rock and dominate running the football. You've got versatility in most every room on the offensive side of the ball. Now, again, I would hesitate to have to play a backup quarterback right now, but hell, that's most teams. So the bottom line is the offense is going to be a pretty dominant unit week to week. If the defense can be good, I don't think the defense has to be great. It'd be awesome. If the defense somehow was great, now you're starting to talk about changing the goals, maybe moving the goalposts. Now you're talking about trying to win a national championship. Yeah. If the defense is great, now you're talking about you could win a national championship. But I don't go into this season expecting to win a national championship. That would be an ancillary benefit of a very surprising set of things that occurred. But I do think they should be really good, as in they can win the ACC. I do think it's double-digit wins guaranteed. If not, it'll be a disappointing season. They go 9-3, that's disappointing, period. So, to me, the expectations are high, just not national championship high. But I do think in order for that to happen and for us to get to that place, this defense, Adam Fuller, that staff, those players have got to take a big step forward. And I think they're capable now that they got better players. They have more depth. There may be a couple more things that I want to see happen here real soon, in particular in the linebacking room. But I think that they're getting closer. They're getting closer.
I'm glad that we circled back to that because I know of some of the plays that Adam Fuller is referencing specifically. A couple of them happened Thursday. It's, they're in situational 11 on 11. This is full go. It's not a first down drill or third down drill. If you get a first down, it moves the chains and you're trying to score. There is a ball that Akeem Dent's wearing number 1 now. It's no longer McClellan. It's Akeem Dent wearing number 1. I mean, the ball splits the 1 on his jersey and it hits the ground somehow.
Gotta catch it.
It's about finishing the plays. Like, son, you have arms and you do have hands as well. And so therefore, if the ball is going to hit you, maybe you could put those arms and hands in the way of the ball so that we secure the football. It's about finishing the play. And that's not the only play that was like that I've seen so far in camp. There have been several really key opportunities for the first teamer, second team, and third on defense in which you can take the ball away. You are in position. You've done everything right. Finish the damn play. It's kind of like the clips that D-Rob put together last fall with Wake. You're there. You've done the hard part. Now finish the freaking play.
Oh, reward yourself.
That's what he's speaking to with the safety specifically.
Yeah, reward yourself, man. It's hard to be in the proper place in the coverage. It's difficult. Offense, as they say, certainly knows where they're going. And yet there you are. You make that play. You read it well. You blanket it. You got to make a play. The Masters is this week. Betting favorites, real value. Well, obviously, any discussion of a favorite has to do with Scotty Scheffler, but I've got some thoughts as well. And then, of course, revisit a couple of those things from the baseball team, some more assessment there, and football. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
This is Tyler from Bear No Heating and Air. Now you can schedule an appointment or pay your bill from your mobile device. Any day, anytime, anywhere.
Save big time in the new year and get $1,200 off select new units.
Online at BearNoAC.com.
Keeping you comfortable is what Barry does best.
Order license CAC 1816-186.
Did you know that when you order food delivery through third parties like Uber Eats and Bite Squad, local restaurants lose up to 30% of their own revenue, and you're actually sending your money to corporate bank accounts in California? Well, now you can truly support our locally owned restaurants by ordering directly from foodiestakeout.com. Choose from delicious options like El Jalisco, Smitty's Tap House, Hangar 38, Jerry's Cafe, and many more. With Foodies Takeout and Delivery, we can actually put our money where our mouth is. Order your next fresh meal today at foodiestakeout.com.
Talquin Electric Cooperative Incorporated will virtually hold the 83rd annual meeting of membership on Saturday, April 29th, 2023. Keep an eye out for the mail-in ballots to elect Sam Finn, the District 9 trustee. He has lived and worked in the district for over 50 years and has been a Board of Trustees member for 47 of those years. For confident, dedicated service, vote Sam Finn for Talquin Electric Cooperative District 9 trustee. This message paid for by Dr. James Ryan Finn of Finn Chiropractic.
Do you struggle with occasional nerve aches in your hands or feet? Try Nervive Nerve Relief from the world's #1 nerve care company. Nervive tablets contain alpha-lipoic acid to relieve nerve aches, weakness, and discomfort, plus B-complex vitamins to support healthy nerve function as you age. Live life with less nerve discomfort with Nervive Nerve Relief. Learn more at nervivehealth.com. And try Nervive Pain Relieving Cream to block nerve pain signals at the source. Use as directed.
For the ones finding new ways to ensure the job always gets done. For the ones wearing many hats. For the ones who are hands-on, even from far away. And the ones keeping business moving forward. We are Grainger, offering professional-grade industrial supplies, plus real-time product availability and access to experts ready to answer your toughest questions. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Knowles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Greta, Tallahassee.
The latest betting odds and live movements from Vegas. This is your action update. Now here are your latest lines from our guys in the desert.
Terrell Hatton, the 12-1 favorite to win the Valero Texas Open at the TPC San Antonio. Final tune-up for next week's Masters. Ricky Fowler is 18-1. Siwoo Kim, Hideki Matsuyama, and Corey Connors all 22-1. Baseball season opens tomorrow. The Atlanta Braves, a $2.40 favorite of the Washington Nationals, plus 216. 8 under the total at Nationals Park.
Grandpa, sweetie, you haven't touched your tools since the carpal tunnel syndrome diagnosis.
If these seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, talk to your cardiologist. Ask about transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy, or ATTR-CM, a rare and underdiagnosed disease that gets worse over time. Learn more at connecttoyourheart.com. That's connecttoyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Wouldn't you say it's time for a beauty refresh? Lucky for you, Ulta Beauty's 21 Days of Beauty is happening now. So treat yourself with up to 50% off bestsellers like Benefit Cosmetics and MAC Cosmetics. And say hello to new product launches from Fenty Beauty by Rihanna, Tarte Cosmetics, and so many more. That new you feeling is waiting at Ulta Beauty. But hurry, Beauty's biggest event ends April 1st. Shop in-store, online, or try curbside pickup today. Ulta Beauty, the possibilities are beautiful.
At Penny Pool, Patio, and Spas, it's prime time hot tub season. And after a long, stressful day, there's nothing like soaking in a hot tub with all that steam. And it has lots of great health benefits, too. Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas is your true hot tub headquarters. Save today on the hot tub of your dreams at prices you can afford. Come and shop our 12,000 square foot showroom and find the right model for you. With over 50 hot tubs in stock, you're sure to find the one that's just right. And for a limited time, take advantage of a free spa cover with purchase of your new hot tub. That's around a $400 value, completely free with your purchase. If you're ready to relax, we're here to show you how. Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas. Come see us at 2473 Greer Road. Pick out your hot tub and enjoy your free cover. You'll be glad you did.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future. We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3.
listening here around Tallahassee on 93.3 and those that are watching on Warchant TV, or if you're hanging out in the chat as well, fire away any questions you might have. We'll see if we can get to some of those as well. It's good times. Masters Week, always exciting. Pumped about that. Make quick mention there of the numbers because I like to gamble both legally and illegally. Every type of it. I like it. And I will point out something that I think is interesting. Tom, I want your thoughts on this real quick.
Mm-hmm.
No one has won back-to-back Masters titles since Tiger Woods, right? We know that. He did it in 2000 and 2001. Part of a hell of a run, one might say. That's one apt descriptor of the Tiger Woods run. There have been others that have come out subsequently. I think sometimes when you're immersed in somebody doing something historic, you lose the ability to really have any perspective as it's happening because you get tired of talking about it. You're like, oh, yeah, Tiger Woods is good. Tell me something I don't know. But then when you see it again, you're like, oh, if they only took the wins from 2000 and 2001, it'd be better than everybody else's career but Jack's. It's like the dumbest thing ever. Like, oh, that's rather remarkable. But that said, don't you feel like this week, like if you were going to make a bet on Scotty Scheffler to win back-to-back Masters, or you wanted to bet somebody to do it, you feel comfortable kind of doing it as much as you can. You kind of feel comfortable. This place is good for him, and he's right and never nervous and really likes being in the mix, and you can get him at plus 700. Feels like really good value.
7-1 is, I mean, that's excellent value. I'd put him at 3-1 or 4-1. He played brilliantly at the match play a couple of weeks ago, so he's in form. He doesn't have to worry about the fear that he dealt with and overcame last year in that Sunday duel with Cam Smith when he's weeping in his abode the morning of the final round. Like, there's pressure on Jon Rahm to win this thing. There's pressure on Rory McIlroy to complete the Grand Slam and win his first major since 2014, and those two guys are playing really, really good golf right now. But, I mean, this is a player who I think is playing just as good as anybody else in the world, and his last tournament appearance at the World Match Play at the WGC was outstanding. So, yeah. 7-1 seems like a pretty good bet to take.
Well, here's a good way to look at it, too. Okay, he's 7-1. You know who else is 7-1? Rory. You'd feel much better about Scotty Scheffler than you do Rory. Now,
infinitely better. Now, there is one concern about the weather this week at Augusta.
Yeah, awful weather.
That impacts things. It doesn't look like it's going to rain potentially a ton, but there could be one stoppage on Friday. The wind isn't going to be nuts, but if it does rain consistently Friday through Sunday, the greens are softer, they're slower, so guys can fire at pins, and that may change the math on bringing some guys into the conversation that might not have been otherwise. Like, for example, a Colin Morikawa, I think, actually might be a better play in this situation. Or you could go the other way and say the long hitters, because it's going to be a softer course, are going to net gain from the distance lost for some of the other guys who need run out.
Okay, so there you go. At plus 2,200, that's Tony Finau, who is gotten better. He does have a third place here. People forget that. He hasn't always played well here, but he does have a third, and his game's a lot better now, too, and he's shown he can win, and he can handle the pressure of that. But again, he hits it a mile. If that's the case, I kind of like him there at plus 2,200. That is that's a hell of a value, too. It's interesting. You know, by the way, he's plus 2,200. You know who else is 2,200? You want to talk about accuracy of irons, you brought Colin Morikawa up. Well, Justin Thomas is also plus 2,200 now. He gets wayward sometimes with the driver, but he is really good with the irons. So that's kind of fun, too. You can get Jon Rahm at plus 850. Wow.
The thing I'd take a look at, 850 for Rahm. He should be at least on even footing with Rory and Scotty. That makes little to no sense to me. The Friday after, this is the weather forecast is going to be more important on Wednesday when you're placing some wagers. But if you're looking at the draw, the potential for a stoppage as it stands right now is Friday afternoon. So those are the dudes who would have to play extra golf on a Saturday if you have a stoppage. So if you've got a morning Thursday, afternoon Friday golfer that you like, you might want to pause and wait a couple of days to see how the weather forecast shakes out. Because if those guys have to play extra on the weekends, I never like that. You got to play 9 holes first thing in the morning on Saturday and be sharp again later in the afternoon. That's always a tough ask.
Yeah, we'll be monitoring the field tee times and weather, therefore, but it will be fun, always is, and I'm very fortunate, of course, to have been to this place and seen what all the hubbub was about. And now that I've been, I already love the Masters. I already love the majors in general. But now that I've been to that one, I can't, again, begin to describe for those who haven't been. There are very few places that live up to the billing when they've been described the way this place has. And then you get there and it's even better. You're like, oh, this is better than I thought. I heard people go on and on about this for years. I'm like, okay. And then you get there, you're like, it's much better. It's better than anybody could have described. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I'm so thankful that we do not have a spring game this weekend because that's always just been a crimp in our Masters style. I was thinking about asking if you wanted to play golf on Friday afternoon after the show, but I got to be honest, if we're going to golf this week on Thursday or Friday, buddy, it might need to be first thing in the morning so that we could, after the show, partake in the goodness and greatness that is the Masters.
Yeah, it's hard to not sit down immediately following the show and watch the Masters. It's hard not to do that. Yeah, no, I'm excited about it. Very excited about it. Somebody mentioned before they're upset with the baseball team. Look, there's no question that Link Jarrett can coach. He's proven it. Multiple stops, multiple different types of teams, proven he can coach. This is the same staff he had at Notre Dame that went to the College World Series. Moreover, same staff that he had when they went into Knoxville and beat the number 1 ranked Tennessee club in that very hostile environment with a loaded roster. So they were mentally tough, they were physically tough, and they executed. They did all the things you got to do. They pitched well on the road. They picked up the baseball. They ran the bases well. They did all those things. He's proven he can do that as a player and as a coach. It's not coaching in year one that you want to lay your anger towards. I get the frustration of watching the worst Florida State baseball team in my lifetime. I get it. They're awful. And it's not changing. It's they're not going to get better because I think in addition to having lost your best pitcher, which they have in Wyatt Crowell, they haven't had his services, and he would have won one of these games that they've lost. He would have put them in a position to win multiple times during this current losing streak. But in addition to that, you lose games, you lose confidence. All of it begins to fall to pieces. And I think you've seen that. You've seen a team now that doesn't believe they're going to win because they've been beaten and they've been snake bit and they've been hurt and they just keep losing. And now I watch them and I think these guys are completely bankrupt. They don't believe in anything they're doing you got guys that can hit. You still have guys that are hitting at a high. Some of these numbers are mind-boggling. Their approach has got to be better. Just start with the approach has got to be better at the plate. I was looking at numbers going into the Sunday game, Tom, and I put them in my notes here. I'm going to pull these up here. They were just breathtaking and very, very frustrating. It's hard to fathom that they could be this bad. But here you go. Going into yesterday's game, Tibbs led the team in walks. Now, Tibbs is their best hitter. It's really kind of not close. He does a lot of things right in the batter's box. He's got power. He hits for average. He's also the only one who's patient enough to walk. He's walked 26 times. I don't know if he walked at all yesterday in that ass kicking that we took, but he had 26 walks going into the game. You know who the next closest was? Smith, 10. Ross is at 9. So get this. A kid who missed 13 games for this team is third in walks. That's terrible. Just taking a cursory glance at the numbers, that's not good.
Well, they're terrible. So that makes sense.
Well, yeah, but even a kid like Ferrer, okay? Watch Ferrer. Now, I don't want to talk about the defensive stuff because I can't. But he's hitting 370 going into yesterday's game. You know what his on-base percentage is? 400. So how many terrible strikes is he swinging at? Right? Think about this. Think about, it's really interesting to me that you can go back through and look at this. Miami through the first 2 games, we talk about the approach. I'm getting very specific here. They had 108 in the Friday game, pitches, to get the win. They had 117 on Saturday. That kid yesterday had an ERA of over 9 and just breezed through us, save for one bad moment. It's crazy. In the Saturday game, we had 6 one-pitch ABs. Or that Friday game. 6 one-pitch at-bats. We had 9 2-pitch at bats. 9. Tom, if you do the math, you get to almost half the outs being made by a total of 20 pitches for the game.
Well,
the approach is terrible. The confidence, they're devoid of all of it, and they can't pitch. And they don't pick up the baseball.
Other than that, they're a tournament team. So that's the good news. To me, I have a hard time with the approach critique because there is a middle ground, and I understand that. But we lamented in the bulk of the meat era.
But yes, people did. Yes,
we lamented that we never swing at a hittable pitch. And if they see something that they could get after, maybe their scouting report on Friday was this kid's too good, so get to him earlier. I don't know.
He's not too good.
I know his ERA was in the 5s. Maybe their scouting report said jump on him early in the count. Maybe later in the count, the average and the numbers plummet for the hitter and its advantage pitcher. I don't know. But what I do know is that you don't have enough guys who have a natural position. All right. And that bears every day. You don't have enough arms. A different guy every weekend stands out. Like on Saturday, we got a good Whitaker and Andy Armstrong. You know, if you score 4, you win.
Armstrong and Whitaker were great. Yep.
They were. But every weekend, it seems like somebody different on a Friday through a Sunday stands out, and they're just not consistent enough. They don't have enough put-out pitches. I think they've got enough potential in that young crop of the pitching staff, but they don't have the development yet. And then on offense, they haven't been healthy with any consistency. And then now you've got confidence issues across the board. So that's how you get to a place where they are, where to me, buddy, it's MLB at bat app more often than not. And that's unfortunate because this season looked like it was going to be a blast, and it still could turn around. Baseball is that way. There's nothing more lonely, even in a major league season, than losing 9 games in a row. You could do that and still win 90 for the season. But this is a huge undertaking for Link Jarrett. I thought they'd be better than they are right now.
I thought so too. It certainly began very well. What were they? 11-3.
Yeah, the TCU series was. I mean, that it felt like, oh my God.
Turns out TCU kind of sucks.
Yeah,
yeah. It's unfortunate. Yeah. When I was critiquing the approach, this was a broad critique of the current approach. I'm not saying that historically Link teaches an approach by which you make a ton of outs on one pitch. No, I'm not saying that. There's no evidence in his past that this sort of empty approach to each plate appearance is the norm. But this speaks to the problems in the head of the hitters currently, and the stuff that we're witnessing doesn't make any sense. I mean, you can't have check swing, tap balls back to the pitcher repeatedly on the first pitch. We saw that multiple times. I'm like, come on, man. If you're committing, commit. There's a whole lot of in between of everything. And it's really difficult to watch. And you're right. I can't watch. How many times I'm going to watch somebody drop a pop fly? That has to stop. Now, I know they moved him to DH later, but you can't do that.
Unless you're a left fielder for the Baltimore Orioles, it doesn't really happen all that often. I watched infinitely more Major League Baseball this weekend. It's a more watchable product in general, especially when we're this bad. And he'll turn it around. I'm not losing faith in the long term of the process. It's just that car's a beater right now. You know what I mean? So I'm just going to go watch these other beautiful cars drive up and down the road and do so at a half an hour faster than they have in the first, weekend of the season a year ago in Major League Baseball. It was a rousing success for the MLB this weekend. Awesome stuff.
Rousing success. Only one game on Sunday lasted 3 hours. One. The average time of a game on Sunday was 2 hours and 34 minutes. For the season, the average time of a baseball game is 2 hours and 40 minutes. 75% of games have been played in less than 3 hours. So far this season. There has not been one 4-hour game yet played this year. Nothing even close to it, despite some 10-9 games in oddities. That was the 10-9 Blue Jays game over the Cardinals, and that lasted 3 hours and 38 minutes. There was a delay in that game, by the way, as well. If you're Theo Epstein, if you're Rob Manfred, or anybody who's responsible for this, you have to be overjoyed. Batting average on balls put in play is 301. It's the highest that it's been since 2007. It's still April weather, which isn't great in a lot of places just now. So, pitchers are always ahead of hitters early in the season. It's staggering to see batting average on balls put in play be this high. That has to do with, as you well know, Tom, the lack of the shift.
Yeah.
Stolen bases are way up. There have been 70 stolen bases. It's up 37% from last year. The stolen base percentage success rate is at 83%. The rule that limits the number of time that pitchers can step off without risking a balk, which is twice, and a determination by teams now to turn stolen bases into a weapon again because of the added size of the base after what you would describe certainly years of neglect, is going to lead to a lot more movement, a lot more action, a lot more stolen bases, a lot more hit and runs, balls put in play. The game itself is going to be better. I think we're getting mountains of evidence in a very short period of time, and I'm usually reluctant to use that small data set. But, Tom, everything about it has been awesome.
No, it looks like it did. When we had the pandemic first start, I went and I watched so much 80s baseball and early 90s baseball. It looks just like that. It looks
80s
just
baseball
like
is what it looks like to me, yeah.
It's just quick. I'm talking early 90s, late 80s, when they're still wearing, they got the stirrups and they've got the jerseys with no buttons. That's what it looks like to me, is that old school manner of baseball. So it's not a radical change to something different. It's a return to the golden era of what it used to be in terms of pace. They changed some other rules, sure. I don't know that they wanted to see 45 more successful stolen bases in this short period of time. I don't know how they can change that. It's not that I have a problem with it. But the other thing I saw this weekend and watching, I probably had 6 or 7 games on that I watched more than a couple innings of over the weekend, is with the increased pace, you're starting to see more mental errors from guys in the field because they're flustered more often. They've never been flustered in the last 10 or 15 years in the field. The game's so damn slow. Everything's a 3 true outcome. But I'm seeing defensive mistakes, fundamentals that are lacking. I think the rapid pace of play is forcing everybody's brain to speed up. And so, therefore, there's just kind of a more hectic pace to things. I love that. I love that about what I'm seeing so far. I don't think that the 25-point increase on batting average of balls put in play is going to hold the whole season. It's going to regress a little bit. But it's just, again, I'm seeing so much more activity, and that also allows for guys to show off how athletic they are. Baseball players are athletic. They're not all pudgy Babe Ruth-looking guys. I'm glad that we can see that a little bit more out in the field.
Yeah, they're more athletic than they've ever been. It's amazing to watch, and now they get a chance to do it. I would also note, again, we will see a regression to the mean. We will see something along the lines of the kinds of adjustments that we've seen in the past to when pitchers have it's various portions of baseball's history dominated. We see an adjustment. When hitters are dominate, we see an adjustment. This is a game of adjustments. And people will figure it out. They'll figure out ways to master what they're not currently having success with. I just think that the mere pace of play has not at least crossed the line into ruining the leisurely nature of the game we love. It's pushed it to right where it needs to be, which is I can still have a conversation with you. They're not pitching every 6 seconds. But the action that people longed for that was lacking in the game is now omnipresent no matter which game you turn to.
The Mets, for example, yesterday, the first inning with the Marlins, I think it was 72 pitches. I mean, that's a ton of pitches. And it did feel long and strung out because both guys were nervous, clearly. The game finished in under 3 hours with 70-plus pitches. It was about a 35 to 40-minute first inning, that's old school. You're not unused to that. That's very typical to have an inning that long. But that the game finishes in another 2 hours for the other 8 innings, that is not typical. And I think Briley raises a good point here, as he often does. But he says the step-off rule is going to have to go 35% on successful steals, and a success rate over 80% is untenable. What he's getting at is this is a function of the rules, that it's now a success. You don't necessarily have to be good at stealing bases to successfully do so. There has to be, I think, a balancing act there a little bit where guys who are good at it are the successful ones, not everybody who's got speed. I do kind of agree with him there.
Well, we'll have to watch and see what happens. I think it's going to get adjusted to whether they change the rules or do away with the rule or not. I don't think it's going to sustain itself. We've only gone through 1 week into play. So, I mean, we hardly can draw too many conclusions from that. I do think you'll see other ways in which they'll slow down running. Your elite base stealers back in the day, anywhere between 70 to 120 stolen bases. We're going to get to that point again. We're going to get to where the fastest guys in the league who are adept at stealing bases are going to be the fastest guys in the league who steal bases. And, there were guys in the league at one time when they utilized the stolen base as a threat, as a weapon, that if you walked them, it was the same as giving up a double or a triple. You just knew it. And the best players in their prime at doing that, obviously, we all know their names. And it was largely built around the fact that you couldn't throw them out. They were that good. They'll be that good again. Those guys might see some skewed numbers. I'll agree with you there. Like the elite base stealers may end up having some numbers that seem a little off.
Yeah, success rate at 90% or something like that. Yeah.
I don't think you'll see some fat ass steal 37 bases just because of the new rules. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Call Basic Brooks Law Offices, 777-7777.
Hi, this is Jamie McClenny from Trek Financial in Tallahassee. Managing downside risk in your portfolio is one of the biggest challenges that you'll face in retirement. Trillions of dollars in stimulus from the Federal Reserve and D.C. politicians, combined with zero interest rates, have propped up financial markets since the financial crisis ended in 2009. The Fed recently ended quantitative easing and has started to raise interest rates at a time when the global economy was already slowing. Have you considered what another 50% correction in the stock market would do to your retirement plan? If you're concerned about where this all might be headed and would like to find out about the potential benefits of an active risk management strategy for your portfolio, give me a call at 850-900-5200 and schedule a time for a review of your portfolio from an active risk management perspective.
Make Jamie your first call for a second opinion. Investment advisory services are offered through Trek Financial, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
Tune in every Sunday from 2 to 3 p.m. for Great Southern Gospel with Bobby and Nita Key, sharing their voices for nearly 20 years, only on Real Talk 93.3.
This is Thomas Dickens from the Law Office of Marie Maddox. I'm a combat veteran and a former JAG. I've fought for our country, and now I fight to get you your back wages. If your boss has ever shorted your paycheck or withheld your overtime, you need to call me now. 850-383-4800. 850-383-4800. Or find us online at maddoxlaw.com. Offices in Tallahassee.
At Penny Pool, Patio, and Spas, it's prime time hot tub season. And after a long, stressful day, there's nothing like soaking in a hot tub with all that steam. And it has lots of great health benefits, too. Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas is your true hot tub headquarters. Save today on the hot tub of your dreams at prices you can afford. Come and shop our 12,000 square foot showroom and find the right model for you. With over 50 hot tubs in stock, you're sure to find the one that's just right. And for a limited time, take advantage of a free spa cover with purchase of your new hot tub. That's around a $400 value, completely free with your purchase. If you're ready to relax, we're here to show you how. Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas. Come see us at 2473 Greer Road. Pick out your hot tub and enjoy your free cover. You'll be glad you did.
Did you know that when you order food delivery through third parties like Uber Eats and Bite Squad, local restaurants lose up to 30% of their own revenue, and you're actually sending your money to corporate bank accounts in California? Well, now you can truly support our locally owned restaurants by ordering directly from foodiestakeout.com. Choose from delicious options like El Jalisco, Smitty's Tap House, Hangar 38, Jerry's Cafe, and many more. With Foodies Takeout and Delivery, we can actually put our money where our mouth is. Order your next fresh meal today at foodiestakeout.com.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
This is Brian Kilmeade, and I'm excited to be on the air in the capital city. Be sure to tune into my show. I'll be giving you all the latest news, information, and the truth you demand. The Brian Kilmeade Show is live from 9 till noon, right here on Real Talk 93.3.
Here's a deep thought. What if the hokey pokey really is what it's all about?
You're listening to Real Talk 93.3.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out
Will be joining us as we get a chance to talk to him. Impressions. Already mentioned it earlier, but need to mention it again. If you're wondering how that scrimmage played out, you not only get our commentary on it, but our coverage as well. Ira did a good job. Corey did a good job. Everybody does. Warchant.com. Get yourself a membership. Why don't you? That way you don't miss the latest. But his article, 10 Big Takeaways from Florida State's football's second scrimmage, spring scrimmage, is up on Warchant.com right now. And as we get set to prepare for the final 2 weeks of spring practice now and head into that April 15th spring showcase, as it's known, you're going to want to read all that stuff and know what's going on. Let's bring him in right now. Warchant.com on the Jeff Cameron Show. Hello, Ira. How the hell are you, buddy?
I'm great, Jeff. How you doing, man?
Couldn't be better, man. Couldn't be better. I don't know if you heard earlier, we were talking about your takeaways, the 10 big takeaways article, and I get bored, and it's a good way to be bored with Jordan Travis stories. So I'm glad you led with Josh Farmer, because that guy's really, and what I mean by that is just Jordan Travis is going to be good, period. He's got more weapons than he's ever had around him, and they're loaded, and he'll be awesome every time you let him play with the ones, every time. So it's cool, and I know fans need to know that, but I care more about the trenches all the time. And so Joshua Farmer having another great day. Of course, we've seen him in practice be great. I think he's on the cusp of having a great season as well. Mike Norvell singling him out and talking about him being dominant. That was my favorite note of the 10, and they were all good.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Yeah, I was thinking, it's funny, I was thinking back as I was writing that about when Josh Farmer came in as an early enrollee 2 years ago, and he came in, and I remember Devontae Love-Taylor, who was a grad transfer offensive lineman, said that when they went out to practice, like one of the first days they were out there, Josh Farmer pointed to him as a high school senior that was enrolled early in college and basically said, like, I want you. Like, he wanted, Devontae Love-Taylor probably wouldn't have been one of the top five offensive linemen Florida State has today, but at the time, he was the most proven college lineman they had, and Josh Farmer, as a freshman, basically said, I want to take you on. And now you see him able to back up that confidence with his physical ability. I mean, he's put on 50 pounds since then, but he's extremely strong and physical. We've all seen it out there in practice. I mean, he snatches dudes and throws them around, and he's quick and he's athletic, and I mean, he's just a fun player to watch. So in a group that's probably going to be one of the strongest groups on that defensive line, the level he's playing at is really cool.
Was there anything that you heard the coaches say that surprised you? I know what you wrote. A lot of what we think about with that scrimmage and the write-ups of what the coaches had to say seemed to reveal that, really good players made really good plays pretty consistently. But was there anything that stood out to you that you thought, either good or bad, that you thought was interesting and worth noting about spring up to this point and, of course, the scrimmage itself?
But there are probably a couple things. I mean, I thought one thing that was kind of neat was, and it's not a sexy position, but it obviously can be a very important position, is when John Papuchis was talking about the kickers. And he said your boy from FSU had
damn right
has some swagger about him. And, he basically just kind of talked about how, because I brought up the fact that, while Brian Fitzgerald's been here and this is the same snapper and holder he's had, and a lot of kickers, man, like that's a big deal. It's an operation. It's not just lining up and kicking a field goal. There's more to it with the operation. And he said, man, Keltner's kind of like, man, just put the ball down and I'm going to go kick it. And watching him in spring, it's not like we've been blown away that he's clearly better or that he's beating out Ryan Fitzgerald. We don't know how that's going to play out. But I thought that was a pretty cool thing for him to say about a kicker, that he's got some swagger about him and, very low maintenance and just wants to go out there and kick. I was a little surprised that, Adam Fuller kind of came out and challenged the safeties the way he did. Not that it's surprising. I mean, I do think they need to play better. But, he's not a guy that does a whole lot of that. This coaching staff's not a coaching staff that does a whole lot of that. So for him to do that, I'm sure certainly it was planned. They're trying to send a message to those safeties. And, so that was just something kind of catches your eye because they don't do that a whole lot.
I think the whole season really kind of depends on this defense becoming something of a strength and something that you can trust week to week, or at least against the better offenses. So I'm kind of glad to hear it. I know they have a lot of athletes back there. They have a lot of guys that I think can fill the role. And if they're really good up front, there's really no reason those kids won't be playing with high leverage situations, meaning third and long and opportunities for takeaways. It's kind of interesting, though, like you said, to hear him call it out specifically.
Yeah, and, I think that's a great point. If you think back to last year, I think they didn't have a whole lot of confidence that they were going to get pressure with the front four last year. Obviously Jared Verse had some great moments. Patrick Payton had some great moments, but they blitzed a lot as a defense because they knew they had to dial up some pressure. I think this year they think that front four is going to be able to put a lot of pressure on people. And so now it's not good enough to just be in position to not give up the big play. The one thing that defense did a great job of last year is they didn't give up a ton of big plays. They didn't have a lot of busted coverages. They didn't get beat over the top a lot. But I think Adam Fuller's, and I'm sure Patrick Surtain and Mike Norvell are expressing to these DBs, okay, this is a different year. It's not good enough to just be in position and make the tackle after the completion or try to break it up. You guys need to go make plays. And I think they've got the ability to do it. I think Shaheem Brown certainly is a guy that can make plays. Akeem Dent has probably dropped, 10 interceptions in his college career. So it's time for those guys to make some plays. And it's, those are game-changing plays. I mean, it's one thing to make a stop on second down or third down. It's another thing to get the ball back, and that would be a big deal for this team.
Do you think we know Johnny Wilson is just going to work on one thing, which is he's just got to be better at in more consistent catching the standard ball. He makes dynamic catches all the time. He's a matchup problem. He's all these things. But if he just makes those catches, he'll be an elite player. Do you believe that the other guy that will emerge as somebody you can count on is going to be Portier?
I don't know that I'm buying that he's going to be like the number 2 receiver on this team.
Yeah, me neither.
He's had a good spring, and and he's a nice weapon. He had a bunch of important catches last year, but I think he's still going to be that kind of in that 4th receiver kind of range. But we'll have to see who emerges. I mean, Vandrevius Jacobs has been outstanding all spring. He may end up being the number 2 guy. I mean, I don't think that's unreasonable to think that could happen, or at least maybe the 3rd guy. Winston Wright's now available, and then you have some other guys as well. So I think we'll see Darian Williamson and some of the other guys they have there, but I think he's going to be a solid member of that rotation. I don't know that I would say, he's going to be your number 2 receiver.
All right, do you want to add anything to the pain that is watching Florida State baseball?
I just want to see them compete a little bit more, man. I mean, I know they're not going to be a good baseball team, and I'm not questioning whether or not this coaching staff can coach. I think they can.
Right.
I would like to see a little bit more competitiveness from this team, even in the game. So a game that was a 1-run game on Saturday where they, cut it to 1 in the 9th inning with a home run by Tibbs, you still didn't feel like there was any emotion like that. And I get it, man. You've lost 8 or 9 games and you're down on yourselves and you're losing confidence and all that. I'd like to at least see just some more competitiveness, because that's been the disappointing thing. They're not just getting beat. They're getting beat in a way that you don't usually see baseball teams beat at this level. And I just like to see a little bit more competitiveness.
It's brutal. Worst team I've ever seen them field. And
it shouldn't be as bad. I don't think it should be as bad as it looks.
Correct.
Personally.
Now they do have, Tom, I think correctly pointed this out when we were having our lament. They got a lot of guys that don't have a natural position. Just dudes playing places because they have to play places, but they don't look like they should play in those places.
And I think that's 100% true. And that's when I remember talking to Chuck Ristano, the pitching coach, when they came in, And he said one of the things Link is great about is he recruits two positions. So when they recruit guys, when he sees a player, he or the Rich Wallace, the other assistant coach, when they're out evaluating players, and they say, "Man, coach, you got to see this guy." The first thing Link says is, "Okay, what is he defensively?" I don't want to hear just what a great hitter he is. Where is he going to play? How is he going to help us defensively? So I think you're going to see that change. But yeah, right now it's the land of misfit toys, no question.
Yeah, I think the quote was, as you said before, where can I put him to see championship level defense? Yeah, or something like that, right? Where does he play championship level defense for me? And obviously, it's really cool if the guy's versatile enough that you say, well, you can put him at short or second, and that descriptor holds. I mean, that'd be great. Right now, none of those guys, fall under that umbrella.
And that might not even be as big a problem as the pitching.
Woo!
Woo!
Go. Yeah, I'm glad I asked you to comment on it. I was. I'll see you tomorrow, buddy. Be good. All right, bye. That's Ira Chaffel, Warchant.com. Yeah, man. That is one of the things that stands out the most, though. You're watching, man, he makes it look so difficult. Any of the guys, any of them, as it's happening, you're like, that's a route that looked harder than it was. All of this looks very difficult. It's like me throwing a baseball to my wife. She might catch it. Woo! I'm nervous the whole way the ball's in flight. There's nothing about her on the receiving end of that baseball while holding a glove that suggests she's going to avoid disastrous injury. It's just like, oh, you caught it. Good job. Then she'll say, I don't want to do this. I don't want to either because the next one's going to hit you in the nose and I'll be responsible. And so that's that. Boys, come out here and catch with your dad. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. A tornado watch continues until 5 p.m. this evening. Scattered thunderstorms likely this afternoon, otherwise cloudy. High of 81, south winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Scattered thunderstorms again tonight. Lows dip down to about 67, mainly cloudy. Highs level off around 87 tomorrow, mainly clear. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 82.
So let's say you're considering buying a new home in the current climate. The first place I'd suggest you start is with a call to my friend Shannon at Legendary Home Loans. Shannon will set you up with a complete pre-approval underwriting. You'll shorten or even remove your financing contingency, and the sellers will know that your offer is real and ready to go. Get pre-approval underwriting from my friend Shannon with the one and only Legendary Home Loans. 844-FSU-LOAN, 844-FSU-LOAN, or just visit FSUHomeLoans.com.
Equal housing lender, NMLS number 2270146.
Cannonball! When I get home from work, I'm ready to relax. So I call Swain Pools and Spas to put my pool in the back. I call Swain Pools and Spas. Now I'm soaking up the fun when I want to.
It's springtime in Tallahassee, and there's nothing better than soaking it all up in your very own hot tub from Swain Pools and Spas. Swain Pools and Spas is the home for Caldera and free flow spas in North Florida, and Swain has the right pricing and tub size options to fit any yard and any budget with quick and easy financing options. Swain even has hot tubs that can plug right into your existing electrical outlets, so there's no additional installs needed. Visit SwainPools.com. That's SwainPools.com.
And right next to Swain Pools and Spas is Tallahassee Car Care. Stop in today for everything from an oil change and brake repair and tires to alignments and transmission. Big or small, we do it all. It's Tallahassee Car Care, the only repair shop where you can take a dip while we repair your whip. Tallahassee Car Care, right next to Swain Pools and Spas.
Cannonball!
My man, Eddie.
Jeff, what's happening, dude?
Bears eating people all over the place. I read another article today. It's the third one in the last month of somebody getting mauled to death by a bear.
Man, bears have their own space.
Well,
you got to let them have that.
You do. You got to stay clear of bears is what you're saying?
Yes.
I got a question for you. Here you go. If you had to be mauled to death, eaten alive by any animal in the world, which would you choose to eat you alive?
Ooh, I think maybe I'd want, longevity time, a mouse.
slow burn.
Slow burn.
This thing just finished the pinky. It's been a month.
I could go to work. I could still do my thing. I could probably live 30 years.
I thought you were going to say great white because it'd be quick, or a grizzly. We went with mouse.
Yeah, mouse.
Okay, mouse it is.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Welcome back to the Jeff Cameron Show, sponsored by Legendary Home Loans. A mortgage experience is
Forming the people of Tallahassee that they need to be on the lookout for tornadoes. Is that right? Damn it, man. I'd planned on golfing several times the next couple of days. And of course, it's about when I can golf, guys. We want to thank Terry's Pool Service for supporting our JCS/Warchant charity golf tournament for a second consecutive year. Still trying to get that pool into shape, are you? Along with asking for a little help from Terry's Pool Service, spring is just about here. In fact, it is here. Your family is expecting to see a good-looking backyard paradise. That can't be if you've got green water and yellow pollen and a collection of who knows what all piled up in the corner. You need help, and you need it fast. Needless to say, calling Terry's Pool Service will save your pool. Check them out at terryspools.net, terryspools.net, or call 850-580-7334, because you never know when you're going to need them. You know, I miss the days of us saying www so that old people could participate. That was how that worked for a very long time. You had to say www, because otherwise they would be out there in the wilderness just typing in things that didn't exist. Well, it's not there. There's nothing. Now you don't really even have to do that. You just go to Google, you type 2 words. It's like, ah! Right there to the top. It happens quick. I don't think, Tom, are you going to take John Rahm?
The hesitation probably speaks volumes, right? It's just so often there's at least one heavy favorite who doesn't do a thing.
He's usually the one who doesn't do a thing at the Masters.
Justin Rose comes to mind as a prohibitive favorite about a handful of years ago, and that never got off the ground. It never felt like it was going to, and it never really did.
He missed the cut.
Yeah, that's probably right. Yeah,
it is right.
Probably shot 80 on the first day or something along those lines.
Yeah,
but
devastating.
I hesitate. I really want to see the draw, who is afternoon Thursday, morning Friday. That's where I would lean if I'm going to make a winner bet. But if I'm putting a roster together, Rahm is certainly not a bad pick.
Yeah, if you're putting a roster together, you're going to want him on it. If in our case we have a pool with 10 players, so you know it's probably a good idea to float that out there and not expect him to win. Of the live guys, I think there are only likely I guess you could say maybe 3. It does look like Brooks is healthy finally.
Yeah, if he's healthy, he's fueled by defiance, and this is a whole lot of defiance when you're live and you're showing up at the Masters. So that's dangerous. DJ is always going to be dangerous, and then Cam Smith. Cam is the best pick of live, and it's not even close.
Yeah, it's Cam at plus 2,000, by the way. You can get Dustin at plus 2,500. I have not seen Brooks's selection yet, but I have to double check on where he's
at. It was 32 or 35, according to somebody in the chat, to 1.
35 to 1 is what I think I saw there. Yeah, you're right. That's not bad. 35 to 1, a flyer on him. I wouldn't take him anywhere else. He's not playing any real golf these days. So I don't know. You know, that's the thing you worry about. But I don't know. I'm having a hard time not kind of taking to me, Scheffler over and over and over again. I just like, okay, well, I'm going to keep picking him because every time it's a major, he shows up and he's unflappable.
Yeah, he's the kind of guy who makes the putts that win majors, which is to say
the top 9-footer for par.
You've royally screwed up a hole. You're scrambling, And you've got even, sometimes for Scotty, I wouldn't be stunned if he makes a 15 or a 20 footer for par, and it will carry a lot of speed. It's not going to drip over the edge. It's going to bash the back center of the cup. But that just tells you that the guy is confident and fearless, and you got to be fearless to win majors. And when these guys get hot, I mean, that's the thing that's happened over the last 10 years, I mean, getting close to 15. With Rory, he won a bunch together in a short period of time. Jordan Spieth, Brooks Koepka, Jason Day would have, but he was concurrent with another era, like a Jordan Spieth. It seems like
and he got vertigo.
And he got vertigo all the time after that. Yeah. But there was that window where he and Spieth were both on the rise at the same time. DJ was he's an exception when it comes to annual wins on the tour before he left. But finally, when he wins, you see him in the top page of the leaderboard seemingly every single tournament for a few years there. It's Scotty's time, it feels like. So it's not a bad pick. He or Cam Smith, I think, are two really good picks for this week.
It is weird to me that is the trend, by the way, the trend of guys coming in and winning a bunch in a hurry. Even a young player like Colin Morikawa already has a couple majors in the bag, right? So it's like, if he never wins another one, he's got 2 under his belt, and he'll win other tournaments. So his career is kind of set. Like, if he retires 10 years from now, and let's say he wins 7 more times total and never wins another major, you're going to be like, well, that was a hell of a career. He won 12 times on tour and had 2 majors. But we won't remember it that way because he won the majors right there in this fail swoop of like 12 months.
Yep. Yeah. The other question becomes the obvious one that everybody wants to talk about in the casual golf circles. How far does Tiger go? Does he make the weekend? A, and B, does he contend on the weekend?
I don't think so. No, I saw him practicing this morning, and it made my heart smile. I'm rooting for it. It'd be great to watch, but you feel like that's going to happen?
The amount of precision shots he hit at Riviera. Now, I know that there was a blow up on the weekend, Sunday specifically, but he did shoot. Was it in round 2 or round 3? One of the better rounds on the course for that particular day.
Round 2. I think it was round 2. Yeah.
I'm okay with doing that. Well, that's only one day out of 4, Tom. I'm okay with rebutting that with it's Augusta. He knows his way around that course, and it's a difficult walk, but I don't think it's as difficult as those 2 massive hills on Riviera, and then also being the tournament host for the week at Riviera. This is a singular focus from Tiger. And if you look at the shots he hit specifically on a ton of the par 3s, they were precision irons to inside 10 feet, about as many as anybody that weekend. Driver distance is not a problem. He knows his way around the course. I think it's a made cut as long as he doesn't get on the bad side of the weather draw and he doesn't have to play too many holes in one particular day. I think it's a made cut, and who knows after that.
I'm rooting for it to be. Let's answer Briley's questions before I get to probables. He wants to know, which do you all think we more often use in an attempt to get pressure, an extra defensive lineman or via the blitz? I don't think we're going to blitz nearly as much this year.
That's a good question. So what's he saying, that there would be 5 DL out there? I
think you maybe. Well, does he mean that you're going to have one of the defensive linemen that you feel like can get to the passer, like a Briggs, to go along with 2 Russians?
I think that's more likely. Plus, Adam Fuller has already shown a propensity to put 2 rush ends together in order to confuse one half of the offensive line.
Right.
So if you put Peyton and Verse next to each other, and then Briggs and, say, Farmer on the other half of the line, that is a really interesting, and you've got your hands full with that 4-man front. If he's talking about an extra lineman versus, like, say, it's 3rd and 12 and you only have a 3-man front, would there be 4 out there instead of 3? I think that's a fair, I think so. He also asked earlier during the IRA interview, are we getting to the place where the defensive tackle rotation can be 20 to 25 snaps a player? I think that's absolutely the case. You can have a ton of dudes with 20, 25 snaps, yes.
Real quick, as we get set to do probables, and he'll cue it up in a minute, remind you guys out there, if you've got a youngin', whether it's a softball player or a baseball player, whatever it might be, any degree of skill, whatever it might be, just looking to get the most out of that experience, go see my friends at Power Mill Training Academy. They have the way of not only teaching the skills necessary, but also how to motivate athletes and focus on baseball and softball with specific tools to reach their true potential. It's good for those that are serious players and those that are just looking to have a lot of fun, and everybody in between. That is, again, Power Mill, powering performance. If you would, cue it up, Matthew.
It's time for how you say, with the pitching probables?
Mets Brewers already underway in the day game. Carlos Carrasco and Freddie Peralta. We got Giants, White Sox, Anthony DeScalfini, Michael Kopech, Cubs, Reds, Drew Smyly, Connor Overton, Twins, Marlins, Tyler Mahal, Johnny Cueto, Rays, Nats, Drew Rasmussen, Trevor Williams. Rays off to a good start, 3-0 on the season. Phillies and Yankees. Come on, Phillies, get off your ass with that 0-3 start. That ain't going to get it done. Tawan Walker going to pitch for the Phillies. Nestor Cortez goes for the Yankees.
Nestor.
There it is. Pirates, Red Sox, Johan Oviedo, and Cutter Crawford. We got the Blue Jays and the Royals, Jose Berrios and Brady Singer. Braves, Cards, Charlie Morton, Jake Woodford. Morton! Orioles, Rangers, Kyle Bradish, John Gray. Tigers, Strohs, Matthew Boyd, Hunter Brown. Guardians, Athletics, Zach Plesac, and James Caparillion. D-backs, Padres, Ryan Nelson, Ryan Weathers, Angels, Mariners, Reed Detmers, George Kirby, and closing out the night, Rockies, Dodgers, Ryan Feltner, Michael Grove. Good job, Tom. Good job, Matthew. Good job, you guys. Peace. See you tomorrow.